10 ways that you can make $1 million in your 20s. That's what we're going to talk about today. That's right, how you can become a millionaire as a 20-something. Just to be clear, we're not talking about things that you can't control, things that are completely dependent on luck. Like being born into a wealthy family or winning the lottery. That's just unrealistic and it doesn't help anyone. What we're going to show you here are all achievable based on your own efforts. Things that you can work towards. If you have a plan and work hard enough at it, it's very possible to achieve it. We'll go through them one by one. If you haven't yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel now so you get all our videos helping you achieve financial freedom. Number 1. Become a top-notch software engineer. Not just any engineer, but a top-notch software engineer. The type that gets job offers at places like Google, Facebook, Microsoft, or Amazon. These places often pay $100,000 to $130,000 in base salary for an entry-level engineer job. And that's just salary. There's also a signing bonus, relocation stipend, and equity. All in, an entry-level engineer is making close to $200,000 in the first year alone. And from here, the pay gradually increases over time as you become more experienced. In the United States, students graduate college usually at the age of 21 to 22. So these top-notch software engineers are making about $200,000 a year as a 21, 22-year-old. That's pretty impressive. Earn that salary for a few years and you'll make well over $1 million in your 20s. And even if you already graduated from college, or if you never went to school, you can still get these jobs. Google, for example, has been hiring more and more people who never even went to college. But here's the thing. Becoming a software engineer is easy. What's hard is becoming a top-notch software engineer. In today's day and age, you can learn coding online at the comfort of your home for as little as $20 a month. So you can get the education. What's left for you is to put in the effort to become extremely good at it, so you can get a job at these companies. Number 2. Get an investment job at a private equity firm or a hedge fund. The top private equity firms and hedge funds pay $300,000 to $400,000 to their first-year investment associates, who are usually only 23 to 24 years old. And some of these firms pay well over $500,000 for second years. In fact, if you work at these firms for a few years and rise up the ranks, it's entirely possible to earn $1 million in a single year by the time you're 28 or 29. Now, to be clear, these are the absolute elite investment firms on Wall Street. The middle of the pack in private equity and hedge funds will usually pay lower, but still above $150,000 a year, with pay raises every year. Get that comp for a couple of years, and you'll also make over $1 million in your 20s. So even if you don't make it into one of the top firms, you'll still become a millionaire. We want to emphasize here that this level of pay is specific to private equity and hedge fund investment professionals. Meaning, don't expect this type of pay in other areas of the financial services industry. So if you go into another area of finance like stock brokerage, private wealth management, financial planning, or retail banking, you probably won't get this level of pay so early in your career. This raises the question, what do you need to do to get a job at one of these firms? For one, you need to have the right credentials. Unlike the tech companies that are open to hiring people who never went to college, these private equity firms and hedge funds will usually only consider people with a college degree. Second, you need to demonstrate that you can think like an investor and that you have a really good grasp of investment analysis. These firms conduct rigorous investment analysis before they invest in anything. And we mean it when we say rigorous, way above the level of anything we've seen on the internet. We're very familiar with the type of rigorous investment analysis that these firms conduct. We teach them through our courses on our website at www.lumovest.com, so check it out there if you want to learn how to invest in stocks like a pro. We also publish investing videos on this channel, so subscribe now if you want to invest your money intelligently. Number 3. Get a job as a corporate lawyer at one of the top law firms. The entry-level pay for newly minted attorneys at the world's top law firms are about $200,000. Did we mention that this number increases every year as you gain more experience? Here's the comp table that was leaked for one of the world's top law firms. The compensation package is a mix of base salary and bonus. Here, we want to emphasize that you want to become a corporate attorney at one of these top law firms. You don't want to become an in-house corporate attorney at an actual corporation or a small boutique firm, because the pay would be a lot less. A lot. So if you decide to go into law, make sure you recruit for a job with one of the global law firms. And similar to the private equity firms and hedge funds, these top law firms usually require a college degree and a law degree. College students can go to law school right after they graduate. In the United States, law school takes 3 years. Assuming you graduate at the age of 24 to 25, you can make well over $1 million in your 20s. Number 4, become a pro athlete. This is particularly relevant to young people out there who love sports and have the right physical characteristics. Those of you who prefer moving around much more than sitting behind a desk. There's so much money in professional sports. The NBA, for example, pays well over $1 million for a first-year player, who are often as young as 19 to 20 years old. On the high end, it can be $6 to $7 million in the first year. If you perform well, you'll make well over $50 million in your 20s. Now, it might seem unrealistic and near impossible to become a professional athlete. Sure, it might seem extremely difficult on the surface, but if you break it down into incremental milestones, it's much more achievable. Milestone number 1. Learn how to play a sport. That should be easy. Milestone number 2. Join your school sports team. Again, very doable. Milestone number 3. Become the best on your school sports team. You'll need to train rigorously, but that's also doable. Once you become the best in your school, train to become the best in your neighborhood or your city. It'll require lots of dedication and hard work, but once you're the best in your school, this milestone shouldn't be too far away. And then aim to become the best in the country and get drafted by the professional sports team. By the way, we're just using the NBA as an example. Doesn't have to be basketball. Could be other sports that you're passionate about. What you need to keep in mind, though, is that not all types of sports pay the same. Some sports would pay millions of dollars per year, while other types of sports may pay less than $100K. It really comes down to what's hot in your country. In the United States, people love basketball, football, baseball, and golf. In Canada, it's hockey. In Europe, South America, and Africa, people love soccer. So it really depends on where you're located. Number 5. Become really skilled at a method of entertainment. It could be acting. It could be magic. It could be singing, playing music, modeling, writing, or even comedy. It could even be insulting people if that's your thing. The entertainment industry is always looking for fresh new talent who are in their late teens or early 20s. If you're really skilled in an art that can provide entertainment value to people, trust us, you're in demand. You should reach out to talent agencies like William Morris Endeavor, CAA, Paradigm, and UTA and try to arrange a meeting to introduce yourself to them. These talent agents can help you win lots of paid opportunities. And if you do well and make it big, you can earn millions. Not just from the entertainment work you do, but also from the corporate sponsorships. The key here is that you need to be really good at what you do. And it's generally a lot easier to excel at something that you're passionate about. So ask yourself, is there something that you're passionate about that has entertainment value to people? If there is, then consider putting in the effort to become really good at it, and then try to get representation at one of the agencies. Number 6, start your own business. Believe it or not, you don't have to create the next Facebook or Amazon to make $1 million. If you found a startup that gets venture funding, you're well on your way to $1 million. Say you build a startup and get seed funding for $200,000 for a 20% post-investment ownership stake. In other words, the initial investors is valuing the business after the $200,000 injection at $1 million. You retain the remaining 80% ownership, so, right there, your stake is worth $800,000. It's ideal if you found a promising startup, but it could also just be a small business like selling things online or a restaurant or a bar. When you start your own business, you really get pushed to the $1 million in two ways. First, you get the cash profits that your business generates. Here's an important function to keep in mind. Revenue minus cost equals profit. So however much money you received from customers, subtract your business expenses and that's your profit. That's money going into your bank account every year. Second, you benefit from the increase in the value of your business. After earning the profit, you still own the business, and that ownership of the business has value itself. Think of it like owning a house. If you rent your house to other people, you get the monthly rent payments, kind of like the profit you get from businesses. But you also own that house that's worth something. Likewise, the business that you own is also worth something. The work you put in to build that business not only helps you generate more profits, but also increases its value. We can talk more about how to determine what your business is worth if there's enough interest. Just let us know in the comments. So unlike the other methods we've gone over, where you're working for someone else and getting paid to do it, when you start your own business, you not only get the profits, but also the value of the ownership in the business. Number 7. Joining a promising startup as an early employee. If you don't want to start your own business, maybe it's too much risk for you, or maybe the time isn't right, then you can consider joining a promising startup as one of its early employees. Startups usually pay their early employees with a mix of cash and stocks. You'll receive the monthly salary payments in the form of cash, but you'll also get stocks in the company as an additional incentive to make the company successful. These stocks could be worth millions or even billions if the startup succeeds. The early employees at Facebook, Google, Alibaba all earned tens of millions of dollars from the stocks they received as an early employee at the company. The reason you want to be one of the early employees is that you'll get much more generous stock incentive plans than the people who come on board later. That's because as an early employee, you're facing greater uncertainty about the company's future, and you will have a much greater impact on the outcome of the startup than the people who come on board once the startup has scaled in size. Let's say you're the 5th hire of a startup in Silicon Valley. Well, guess what? 1 divided by 5 is 20%. Your labor is essentially 20% of the company's output. Your work can make a huge impact on the company. Compare that with people who join a startup that have scaled to 100 people. 1 divided by 100 is 1%. Even if that employee is stellar, he's not going to make that big of an impact just mathematically. So startups tend to give out much more generous stock plans to early employees to incentivize them to make the startup successful. And these stock plans could be worth tens of millions or even billions of dollars if the startup succeeds. Number 8. Win a major game tournament. Can you believe it? You can actually make $1 million in your 20s playing games. In fact, the people who make millions playing games are usually in their 20s. It's like a dream come true. In May 2018, Epic Games announced that it will provide $100 million in prize pool money for Fortnite competitions in the first year of competitive play. Valve's Dota 2 has paid out more than $140 million in their tournaments. Other games like Counter-Strike, League of Legends all pay millions of dollars to tournament winners. So if you enjoy playing video games, if that's your thing, then aim to become really good at it and enter the tournaments. And if you win, you could be set for life. If you don't like video games, you can also play card games like poker. The World Series of Poker hosts its annual tournament in Las Vegas. In the 2018 tournament, over 70 people won prizes above $100K. Each player at the main event's final table earned $1 million, with the winner getting $8.8 million. So if you like poker, then try to become really good at it and enter the tournaments. Number 9. Make intelligent investments. Leaving your cash in the bank is value destructive. The interest rate on the cash is so low that your savings decline in value over time due to natural inflation, which is why it's so important to put some of your money into investments. $10,000 invested in Netflix 10 years ago would have increased to about $800,000 today. $10,000 invested in Amazon 10 years ago would have increased to about $300,000. And $10,000 invested in Bitcoins 5 years ago would have increased to about $600,000 today. Granted, these are the home runs that are typical of the broader stock market, but it illustrates the importance of saving up and letting the money grow itself over time. When it comes to investing, it's really important to start investing sooner than later. That's because the sooner you invest, the more time you have for your money to compound. Einstein once said, "Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it, earns it. He who doesn't, pays it." If you don't know how stocks work, check out our video that explains how people actually make money from stocks. We teach people how to analyze stocks in much greater detail through the courses on our website, so check it out if you're interested in investing. Number 10. Develop a large following on social media. In 2017, the top YouTubers have made well over $10 million each, and they're all very young. That's an incredibly large amount of money for people in their 20s. The 6-year-old Ryan of the Ryan Toys Review channel earned about $11 million in the year by opening and reviewing toys. Talk about getting paid to play. These are the top YouTubers with tens of millions of subscribers. There are also lots of YouTubers that make a few million or a few $100,000. And their channels range from cooking, to sports, to makeup, to comedy. Basically things that they're passionate and knowledgeable about. And that's just YouTube. Other people like to live stream on Twitch what they're doing during their days, and in the process, they can earn tips from viewers. Maybe you're doing yoga at home and you can live stream it. Maybe you're walking your dog and you can share it with dog lovers. Live streaming is especially popular in Asia, where many live streamers get paid millions in tips from the viewers. You can also earn money on other social media channels like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you have a large enough following, brands will pay you to promote their products. So creating a large following base on social media can also help you make $1 million in your 20s. These are the 10 ways to make $1 million. The recurring theme underlying all of these is that you have to excel at whatever it is that you do. Find something that you're interested in, and then try to become really, really good at it. Hope you enjoyed this. Now make sure you subscribe, or you'll be poor forever. Just kidding. Not really. Subscribe. See you all next time.